That is new. The prisoner exchange.
Hello there, you're watching Press TV News. We're interrupting our regular programming to bring you live video of the scenes of the return of the released hostages from Colombia, Ingrid Betancourt, namely the most high-profile hostage freed from the FARC rebels. We are not aware of the circumstances which led to her freedom at the moment. What we know is that the army has freed 14 hostages who were held in the custody of the country's biggest rebel group, FARC. We've heard that Colombian forces have managed to free the former presidential candidate, Ingrid Betancourt, who had been kidnapped by the rebels 6 years ago. 3 U.S. contractors and 11 other hostages were also freed in that rescue operation, the details of which are up to now not clear. You can see there Ingrid Betancourt, the most high-profile hostage with the FARC rebels, who has now been freed. Betancourt was held by the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, the FARC, for possible humanitarian exchange of prisoners with the government of Colombia. Her kidnapping has received wide coverage in France due to her French citizenship. After her release, French President Nicolas Sarkozy appreciated the efforts made by the Colombian President Alvaro Uribe. There you can see live video, the rescued hostages. Ingrid Betancourt, the most high-profile hostage with the FARC rebels. Now, FARC has been fighting to overthrow the Colombian government for nearly 40 years. The Colombian Defense Minister, Juan Manuel Santos, said no one had been hurt in Wednesday's operation in the southern province of Guaviare, and that the 15 hostages were in relatively good health. There you have it. Ingrid Betancourt, who is next presidential candidate. The President of France, Mr. Sarkozy, said Betancourt's family and French Foreign Minister Bernard Kouchner would be flown to Colombia, where they would be reunited with the 46-year-old freed hostage. She was kept hostage for nearly 6 years. And a couple of months ago, images of Betancourt were released showing her in apparently poor health. But now there are reports that Ingrid Betancourt is apparently, as well as the other freed hostages, are in good health. There you can see Ingrid Betancourt, the most high-profile hostage with the FARC rebels. All the 15 rescued hostages have arrived in Bogota in Colombia. Now, Colombia freed Ingrid Betancourt and 3 U.S. military contractors from leftist guerrillas, apparently in an operation which took place on Wednesday. Colombia said that military spies apparently tricked rebels into giving them up without a single shot being fired. A very dramatic story there. Betancourt was seized while campaigning for president 6 long years ago, and her surprise rescue has been called absolutely impeccable. 14 other hostages have also been released. They've said apparently that they had no idea they were being rescued until they were airborne in disguised military helicopters. A very dramatic operation there. Now, this rescue mission must have been the most serious blow ever dealt to the 44-year-old Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC, which consider the 4 hostages their most valuable bargaining chip. The FARC is already reeling from the deaths of key commanders and the loss of much of the territory it once had. There you have Ingrid Betancourt speaking on a cell phone. Must be a very dramatic moment for her. apparently in a very good state of health there. There you have live videos for those of you who are joining us here on Press TV. We're getting live feeds, the scenes of the return of freed hostages returning to Bogota, among them Ingrid Betancourt, who's the most high-profile hostage that was held by the FARC rebels in Colombia for nearly 6 years. You can see her standing next to the Colombian defense minister in the white shirt. Betancourt was held for 6 long years by the FARC rebels. That's since February 2002. She's a former presidential candidate. She was running for president in Colombia. 3 U.S. contractors and 11 other hostages were also freed in the rescue operation, which took place on Wednesday. A very dramatic rescue mission. The 3 Americans who were rescued were Defense Department contract workers who were captured after their light aircraft crashed in the Colombian jungles in 2003. This is according to the Colombian military. The successful operation by the Colombian security forces is thought to be a political and military coup for the country's government. It will definitely relieve the pressure on President Alvaro Uribe to negotiate with the FARC, the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. There you have it, live scenes of the return of the freed